Hey guys, it's me, the Bombay Chef Varun Inamdar, and welcome to Get Curried. Well, today's recipe is Singapore chicken curry. Without getting into the debatable history and its origin, let's jump in straight in this cauldron of curry, Singapore chicken curry. Let's begin. Let's begin the chicken curry recipe, of course, with chicken, for which I'm using curry cuts of chicken. This is basically cutting an entire bird into 12 to 15 parts. The first thing is to marinate this with salt. And along with this, I'm also going to add in soy sauce. Now, two ingredients absolutely lethal when it comes to salting the recipe. So use this with caution. Well, I'm using light soy sauce. So there is, of course, color, flavor, and not too much of salting in this recipe. Let's mix this well and keep this aside for at least 15 to 20 minutes. Now this is the time which you're going to utilize to make the curry paste. Let's do that. For the curry paste, the first ingredient is red onion. I'm just cutting this into quarters. 2 medium onions, and that's absolutely perfect. I'm taking a green chili, which is the thicker version, and it's also not the spicier one. Let's cut this as well. To this, let's add in dried red chilies. It's important to remove the stalk like so and break these into 2 to 3 pieces. Pinch and pull is the technique that's perfectly used, especially while breaking chilies. Let's transfer all these ingredients in the blending jar. Of course, I'm going to add in some more ingredients which is going to bring in that whole essence of Singaporean curry paste. Well, in case you like your curry nice and spicy, you can also take all these red chili seeds like so. Let's add this in. Let's add in ginger, roughly snipped, garlic, which is peeled in this case. Well, I like adding in lots of garlic, especially in this curry paste. Let's also add in lemongrass stalks. Well, if you cannot lay your hands on lemongrass stalks, what you can also do is take lemongrass leaves or the blade of lemongrass, just create like a bundle and throw it in while poaching the curry. Very simple. Let's add in some more ingredients, shallots, and along with this, I'm going to add in 3 very critical ingredients, especially for bringing out that wonderful flavor, typical Asian flavor. The first one is coriander seeds. Now, in case you do not have this, which is not like a chance, you can also add in coriander roots or coriander stem. Clean it nicely, ensure that all the mud is removed from that. It has to be dipped in water several times, and then just snip it roughly or bash it with the back of your knife and put it to use. But for now, coriander seeds, untoasted. Finally to this, I'm adding in turmeric root. Now in case you do not have this as well, what you can do is use turmeric powder. Simple. But since I have the fresh ones, I'm using it. Also, if you kind of understand, that is also what is the primary ingredient list of a curry powder. Now, in case you do not have any of this and you have curry powder, just ignore the 3 ingredients and add in 2 tablespoons of curry powder while churning this. Simple. Let's add in fresh red chilies. I'm adding in oil at this stage. This is also the oil which is going to be used not only for churning this, but also while cooking. So I'm not going to add it separately later. Let's add like 1/4 cup of oil while grinding this into a nice smooth paste. In case you want to add in sugar at this stage, you can add in palm sugar, palm jaggery, white sugar, brown sugar, completely a personal choice. I'm adding in white sugar. Now you can also add this while making the curry. So it's not necessary that you have to actually churn this. It's absolutely fine. But for now, this is going to be your curry paste, a Singaporean chicken curry paste. Now, not necessarily you only make chicken with this. You can also make fish curry, prawn curry, mutton curry. The choice is completely yours. Let's churn this into a fine paste without adding water. Our curry paste is done and ready. Let's quickly check how smooth it is. Well, this is just as wonderful as expected. Let's move on to the next step, and that is pan frying this, or rather removing the moisture from this curry paste. And that is also one of the primary reasons why I said do not add water at this stage. You'll know why soon. Let's transfer this spice mix into the cooking pot. It could be a thick bottom pot, it could be a cauldron, anything that you're comfortable with. Just ensure that it's thick bottomed because you want to cook this spice mix till it completely starts leaching out all the oil that we've added in the recipe. Also, from this deep yellow, it'll start turning slightly reddish. And that's where we stop and add in the rest of the ingredients. At this stage, let's turn the flame on. Let's stir this and cook this for 15 minutes. Now this is a very tricky stage because you need to keep shuffling between high flame, medium flame and low flame. Now what happens is, at this stage on high flame, it'll start bubbling very vigorously. You need to keep your hands in check because you may have these scald marks and things like that. So be very careful. What you need to do is turn the flame high. Once it starts bubbling, just turn it on moderate. Keep stirring. Ensure that it does not stick to the sides or the bottom of the pan. And then you just keep mixing it, stirring it, scraping it so that it starts leaching in all the oil. Also the color, like I said, will become nice and dense. That's where we stop and move forward. The yellow paste has now become sticky. It's also become caramelized and it's got a deep red color. At this stage, we're going to add in the chicken, which is marinated and kept aside. Well, for a curry like this, a lot of you I know prefer boneless chicken or boneless meat. But I prefer chicken with bone or meat with bone because it also adds in that wonderful flavor or that stock creation. Let's also add in the soya sauce or the marination, which was in the bowl. Let's mix this well and ensure that the chicken nicely rolls into the spicy curry paste and allow this to sear on high flame for at least a minute or so. Time to add in water to make, of course, a curry. What I have done is I've added water into the blending jar, rinsed it roughly, and I'm adding all of this wonderful flavored water. One quick stir and allow this to now cook on medium to low flame for 20 minutes. Well, covering, not covering is a personal choice. It's been 20 minutes. The Singapore chicken curry is almost ready. Final few ingredients, beginning with coconut cream for that nice, luscious, creamy consistency and texture. Of course, it's also going to add into the sweet mouthfeel. And finally, curry leaves. One quick stir. 30 seconds on high flame. Off goes the flame. Let's serve this curry. With this, your Singapore chicken curry is done and ready. And trust me, this goes amazingly well with a bowl of steamed rice. Now, whether you're the ones who likes eating curries with pao, just like I do, this is the curry for you. On that note, do not wait for anything on the planet. Stay connected, stay tuned, and lots of love all across the globe. Bye for now.